My dear friends, my wonderful listeners from all around the world, what a treat we have in store for you today. This is the least prepared podcast in the history of the Marketing Companion. And the reason is we just had a scheduling upset and Matthew Sweezy couldn't make it to our recording. And I thought, who is the most interesting person I could have in this show to fill in, and it's Dana Malstaff. And Dana, if you're familiar with any of my work, you've probably heard of Dana. If you've ever heard me talk about community, you have certainly heard about Dana. If you read the Belonging to the Brand book, chapter 4 is all about Dana. It's the only time in my entire career I devoted an entire chapter to one person because she literally is the bomb. She is the most innovative uh, thought. Uh, I want to say thought leadershiping.
I like it. Let's make a whole word. I'd like
It's,
my own
let's
dedicated
make a
word
new
to
word.
describe me.
Yeah, I had bronchitis this week, and I still think there's drugs in my system or something. But I mean, when I think about innovation, when I think about visionary in this space, I mean, it's just unbelievable what she is doing and what she has done with Boss Mom. And the interesting thing we're going to talk about today is this incredible success that I featured in my book 2 years ago, where she had this incredible community. I want to say, Dan, it maybe at about 80,000 members. Was it something like
Just
that?
just right about there. Yeah.
80,000 members, and she destroyed it mindfully. This is part of her business
I was going to
strategy.
say that's a terrible word.
Well, okay, we'll come up with a better word. We'll make up a word. But I mean, again, you just think about, the evolution of community, and what Dana has done is probably going to, point the way for a lot of people. So we're going to talk a little bit about brand communities today and creating communities that can become a business. So Dana, why don't you just talk a little bit about your story for anybody? I think there's a few people out there probably who have not read the Belonging to the Brand book. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you built that business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've reflected as we're doing some big changes to the brand about how I don't share my story as much as I used to. It's a decade past when I got actually 11 over that because I started when I got pregnant with my son.
Yeah.
And you start wanting to have different conversations and you're growing and things like that. And then you forget your origin story can be really inspiring for people because right now we're in a space where what people want to see is that being a hot mess, being messy, not having your stuff together, like feeling a little bit overwhelmed and not sure of what to do, that you can still be successful. Like they are yearning for rising from the ashes success stories
Mhm.
so that they can feel like even shows that are coming out where men are falling in love with women who are kind of a hot mess. It's like, thank you. Thank you. That would be great. I would love to see more of that because I feel like a hot mess. So I started out as a hot mess. No, I was in corporate and I was in
Yeah,
corporate.
good book title, by the way, for your biography, your
It
autobiography
should
down the
be.
road.
Yeah.
Dan
Well,
Master, I am a
I
hot mess.
I think we're all hot messes. I think that's part of the joy and messiness of life. Like I was on um at an event that I was helping to run recently, and I just told them like I love how messy people are. I
Mm,
love
mm,
it.
mm.
Like a lot of people can feel frustrated and annoyed by the messiness that is human life, but I am intrigued by it, and it's beautiful. Like tears and joy and just the massive amount of emotions you can have all in one day. Like it's awesome, and since I uniquely enjoy that, that means I can handle a lot of the things that come with building a community because a community is full of people. And when I was in corporate, I loved behavioral psychology. I always loved how humans work. And so it wasn't about managing people, it was about understanding people. And I think that's probably where my love of community came into play. So when I ended up starting my business, and a lot of entrepreneurs, I did not voluntarily start my business. The husband and wife of the company I work for got a divorce, and they were letting everybody the husband had hired go, which was basically all of the marketing department. Um, and that is when I ended up, I had a mentor that was in a consulting and said, Dana, you'd be an amazing consultant, and then you don't have
Mm.
to work for somebody. And I loved that advice. I highly recommend everybody get a mentor, whether you know them personally or not, but pick somebody that you can not just somebody that you read, listen to their stuff and then go, and then their advice, right? But truly look at them and go, it's somebody that I respect, and I would like to live my life the way they live their life. Like that can be really powerful. So I started my own business immediately the same night, basically the night that everybody took me out for tequila shots because it was my last day at work. Um, and then 6 weeks later, I found out I was expecting, which is amazing because we'd been trying for a long time and I'd been working 14-hour days and couldn't, nothing was happening. And so I basically joke that I became a boss and a mom in the same 24 hours. So
Mm.
I am truly
Mm.
a boss mom. But fast forward, I thought I was going to be a mindful communication coach. I tried, I did leadership, leveraged contacts I had. So I would do leadership workshops for like the Red Cross and different things. Really lost trying to figure out my way, knowing I cared about human beings and what they were doing, but also I'm really good in marketing and sales and with words. I have a journalism degree. And so just like everybody else, I just started working with people that would work with me. I would translate books into social content. I would help people make their courses. I would do all sorts of stuff. And when I was able to get into this little mastermind of friends that I had met, Azul Toronis was one of them, and he said if anybody wants to write a book, and I was like, I've always wanted to write a book. And so I sat down to write a marketing book, and Boss Mom is what came out of it.
Oh,
Because what I
really? So
Yeah.
the book came out before the community, or about the same?
It was about the same time.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started writing the book, I started going into other communities, a couple other ones I was active in, and becoming micro famous in those spaces, right? And I would say, "Hey, I'm writing this book. Like, which of these topics are you most interested in? Like, hey, I'm writing this book. Like, what do you think about this opinion? Like, hey, and what I would do is I would create buzz by helping them give me, market research and having them help me make decisions. And I built up excitement for what was going to come, and then use that said, hey, now we're going to have the book. I'm opening this community and I'm starting this podcast. So all three of them really came out at the same time. And if
Mhm.
everybody's going, that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, I didn't think about that and I just did it. Right.
Yeah.
And we just
Mhm.
figured it out. And it was messy. And I'm sure the audio was crappy in our podcast. And, but the great part is with a community, most people think you start a community and you have to have all your ducks in a row, but that's not what people want. What they want is they want a leader who has a vision, and then they want to be a part of the growth. They want to be a part of how it's built. So don't figure all your prompts and your things out. Get in and say, what does everybody want? What would you like to talk about? What would you And then you can start collectively making decisions together, and then allow your community to be a part of it. You're going to have your natural people that want to tell you somebody's breaking the rules, and the natural people that want to engage in everything but never actually post. You're going to get those natural people that want to be like, let's get on the phone and cry on my shoulder, or those natural accountability partners. Like, allow those people to rise up. The biggest problem with community is you thinking that you are managing a community. You are not. You are
Right.
simply facilitating the wrangling of a
Yeah.
bunch of cats in a particular place, hanging out, figuring their own crap out while you're there. A good leader guides them towards the promised land,
Mhm.
a little bit of a time, while not requiring them to change.
Yeah, I teach that all the time. That's one of the big differences between being a leader in a company where you've got people doing performance reviews and literally
Hmm.
managing, but in a community, the community sort of leads you. And again, you own the 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 riverbanks, you own the culture, but the community ultimately takes you to your success.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, we're in this in marketing. I laugh because I'll talk to somebody. I'll be like, mental health. It's so hot right now. Like it's
Mm,
weird to say the things that are popular right now because they're really serious topics,
yeah.
but they're hot right now, right? And so
Mhm.
there's a lot of conversation about like romantic relationships and relationships with people and what healthy relationships look like, and boundaries, right? And boundaries are about safety, and there's a lot of things for women that like what a woman wants is a woman wants to have to feel safe and secure in order to be able to be in her feminine, and
Mhm.
all of that stuff is very popular right now, which is awesome. I love that these are conversations that we're having. The interesting part is that that's how a community runs, right? You talk about culture. You want to know what your culture needs? It needs to feel safe. There's a study they did with dogs where a dog and his owner would sit and there was no fence and the dog would not leave its owner's side, right? And then they put a fence in a particular place and the dog ran around, right? Because there was boundaries. The same things with kids, same things with relationships. The boundaries so they knew how far they could go to be safe. Like a community should be the home base. The community should be the place where they are tethered to, that knows they can come back to, that will love them, that they can be there for them, that will connect with them, so that they know how far they can roam. Like you want your audience to feel free and creative and loved and connected. It's the same way you do in a relationship or with a kid, is that you create boundaries and you create safety and you protect them, right? And decide what that protection looks like so that they can roam free. And when they roam free, we'll tell everybody about you. They will come in and engage. They will do all those things. And it's just, if you just understand how people naturally work and how they want to be loved and seen and heard, like you can turn anything into a vibrant community. I mean, there are a couple industries where that's just hard to do because people don't want to be public about they don't want to talk to people about the
Yeah.
things you're trying to teach them about. But for
Mhm.
the most part, uh, yeah, you can create the parameters and the culture and it'll grow on its own.
Well, let's zoom ahead. So,
Ooh, let us.
when we last spoke, um, and what has what I outlined in the book is you built this magnificent community. And the thing that was different about this is when most people think about brand community, it's some sort of add-on or adjacent activity for marketing. But what you did is you literally made this your business. And the thing that was just spectacular and inspiring to me about this is that, and I'll never forget this. I'll never ever forget this. When I interviewed you for the book, I was in a hotel room in Phoenix and I kept pressing you on, well, how are you growing the money? How are you growing the money? What's your revenue plan? And you would not go down that hole. You said, I am building leaders. I'm building leaders. The only thing that matters is that I'm creating this group of women who are validated, who feel worthy. And you were so focused on this goal. And the lesson for me is if you're focused on the promise of the community, the money will come. You built this community and you kept emphasizing to me, my role is to make this safe. That's the biggest thing. People have to feel safe in the community. And when they feel safe, when they feel trust, when they believe in this authentic vision that you have, then, Dana, you can make courses, you can have a premium level, you can have books, you can have
Mhm.
consulting, you can have events, and you can monetize in all these ways without a sales team, without an advertising budget, without, SEO and all these things that other marketers are working on. When you've got 80,000 people who believe in you in this community, you can monetize in all these ways. Now, so the last time we talked, maybe a couple months ago, you said, "Hey, Mark, well, I'm going to let it go. We're going to go a different way." So this
Yeah.
amazing thing that you built up, that to me is just the spectacular success story. You're teaching us something new here. So now take us to the current state. What happened with Boss Mom, and why did you decide to sort of start over?
Yes. Yeah, and what I do get from what I'm building is loyalty. So we've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
after we've revamped the Boss Mom book, the loyalty engine is going to be the next book that really talks about, which is how to build a community that won't let you fail.
Hmm.
I'm looking for loyalty, right? And
Yeah.
not loyalty to like do whatever I say, but
Yeah.
loyalty where like my long-term legacy right? Is that there are a million women that can trace back something important that happened in their life
Mhm.
to our community,
You're
right?
building a you're building a movement.
Yeah, well, not,
You're
I mean, and also it's
yeah,
not even, yes, a movement and the momentum that everybody wants to come with us,
yeah.
but people are need people. Like, I'm a deep believer. Like, people need people. You are not meant to do anything in life alone. Even if you're an introvert, you may do it less and you may need to recharge, right? But we still people need people, and so Boss Mom's goal is to help you find those people, help facilitate those connections, because we're all so caught up in our own lives and scared and shame and all of those things about being open and honest, that we don't get the support that we could have. We don't get the love that we could have. We don't get the holding that we could have. When we're having a hard time, like, we need to have people that understand us in all these different areas of our lives. And usually we're doing life so much that we don't have those things. When someone goes, Dana, I just had an event, and there was 100 people there. And when we were sitting down trying to figure out how we knew each other, every single one of them found us from the community, like from Boss Moms. Like, that's where it originated. Like, we want to be the launch pad because somebody needs to be, right? And I'm willing to do that work. So the interesting part is that the Facebook group was just a conduit. Like, it's just a container, right?
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah,
and for a lot of people that are just getting started, Facebook is still the best place
sure.
to get started, right? I'm not going to tell people don't go start a Facebook group, although I believe within the next 5 years that will no longer be the play. That will only be filled with the free stuff that, like, for instance, I think
Mm,
in 5 years, Facebook's still going to be a great place if you're running kids' sports teams and you need to organize things, or
mm,
you're a
mm,
running club, or like that kind of stuff. But I think the age of really vibrant communities is moving away into a more intimate, and I believe more paid space. People would
mm,
rather be in a more curated, smaller space than they would
mm.
be a huge space, and we saw
So
that a lot. So,
what yeah, so what went wrong? So you got 80,000 people, and one of the things I'll add here is that you might think, "Oh my gosh, how can Dana have any kind of presence, meaningful presence with 80,000 people?" But read the book because it talks about some very innovative ways she kind of like automated personal intimacy with her group. So I mean, she's did so many interesting, innovative things. You can read about it in the book. So what was the breaking point where you
well,
said this
I love how you
isn't
said what
going?
went wrong, because it wasn't about what. Okay, listen. It wasn't
Okay,
about what went wrong. It
yeah,
was still the most engaged group.
sure,
Everybody was kind of, we were getting people in. I will say
yeah,
we didn't like the it was getting more expensive and harder because Facebook was pulling people into our group that were not good fits. Like, Facebook
hmm
has
hmm
not has gotten worse and worse about finding you the right people as you get to
yeah,
be a bigger group. So that was annoying, but
yeah,
that's manageable.
manageable,
It wasn't that something went wrong, right?
yeah,
It's that I have a bigger vision, and
interesting,
that Facebook group and Facebook itself could no longer get me to that vision, right? And this
oh,
is what I want to tell people.
yeah,
Something, a relationship, your business, an offer, or whatever it is, does not have to be bad, does not have to be toxic, does not have to be going wrong in
mm-hmm,
order for it to no longer fit your needs.
mm-hmm,
Right. And a lot of the people that end up doing, really well and becoming the millionaires, or becoming whatever it is, or finding the love of your life, or whatever it is you're doing, what they recognize is they let go of good things so that they can have great things. And that is a really, really important thing. So when people tell me, they're like, we had people reaching out being like, number one, I want to buy the group from you. It blew people's minds that I would not take a
yeah,
crap ton of money for somebody to
right,
buy that group from me. And I'm
mm-hmm,
like, why would I sell my family to you so that I have no control over what you're going to do with them? And you just kill it within a year, because nobody runs a community. I snootily believe that nobody runs a community the way that I run it, right?
yeah. I
I
will
had people reach
validate
out.
that.
Yeah, I had people reach out and say, like, you need to give me the community for free for the greater good. And I was like, nope, that's also, sorry, I don't believe that either. Right. Yeah, like, you can go anywhere and get into a free community. People come in and they get business from us, and they come and they find their people because we run it a certain way. That takes time. That takes effort. And so I had all of those things. I had friends. They were like, Dana, you use that Facebook group and you use it for leads, and then you do this. Like, you've got to keep it open. And I was like, I don't want to. It no longer serves what I want it to do. It's a big number. It sounds good, but it is not the
So what
future of
was the
what we were
gap?
building for
What
Boss
was
Mom.
the gap? What was your vision?
Yeah. Okay. So I believe this is what we've said. We've based Boss Mom a lot on I built this community, and then there was a coach model, right? A me centric model, which is I'm going to coach you and teach you how to do sales and marketing. Okay. We have discovered over the last decade that it doesn't matter how much sales and marketing you give to a lot of our moms, they're still not able to be as successful as they'd like to be because there's a lot of other things going on, right? They don't have time to be the deliverer, to be the salesperson, and to be the marketing, and to be all those things, and to have a family, and to have, all of the things that they need. Be a good partner, be an aging woman. Like that's,
Mm,
women got a pretty crappy end of the stick of all the crap of all the things we have to deal with, right? And it just stacks up. So what we recognized is that we were creating this space, and then we were also saying, here, we're going to help you know how to market, right? Which I'm a deep believer in the marketing that we teach, the nurture to convert marketing. But it wasn't enough. And we were still seeing a lot of an audience that we really want to impact floundering, and having a hard time. And so we sat back and we said, okay, we've got this community, but what if we reworked Boss Mom completely, right? What if we burned it all to the ground and we were starting fresh, right? What if we did that? Um, and we said, okay, if we're gonna burn it to the ground and we're gonna start over, and there's a good book called Hidden Potential that talks about this with athletes and different things where they have to like literally go all like burn everything down and restart to finally hit their goals.
mm,
And I was like, and we could do anything we want, what would we do? And I thought, okay, well, if my big goal isn't just to be the community, isn't just to be a place, but to actually be that launch pad, like to actually be that thing that gives them visibility, like gives them space, like helps them to be seen so that they could deliver what they deliver and do what they do, which by the way is very important for a mom from an identity perspective because we have deep beliefs that moms need things that make them feel like an intelligent human being because cooking a bunch of meals that your kids don't want to eat and trying to get your kids to not bicker at each other in the back of a car and like somehow your children being able to put their shoes where they're supposed to go is like an act of Congress.
yeah, it's
All
not.
of those
It
things.
doesn't support self
It does
actualization.
not.
No.
It does not. And I believe that the people that love you the most are often the worst at making you feel loved because you're
Mm,
all trying to bump into each other
mhm,
logistically as least as possible in a
mhm,
home, right? It's just hard. So that's what we thought. Like, what if we rebuilt it? What if we could be the space where moms came in and we got them seen, right? And we got that. So we went through all of these different ideas, and what we really landed on, which I got me so excited, is what if Boss Mom was a media engine? Like, what if Boss Mom became the Forbes for mom? What if Boss Moms could come in and like Huffington Post write articles, and what if we had lists, right? What if we had our up and coming boss moms and our like we've got
mm,
a list of women who are our boss moms of impact. They're going to be on our new list every January. We've got 5 lists we're going to come out with. Those are the moms that, like there's Melissa Corcoran, her and her partner, they are therapists who coach parents who adopt troubled teens, right? She's not getting on podcasts all over the place. Who wants to, nobody's interviewing her. They have a very vibrant business and they are helping in really, really big ways. Like, what if I gave her more visibility so that people that are adopting teens can come in and go, wow, okay, I could have support in this way. Like, what would that look like? And so we broke it all down. Our new website is coming up in a couple weeks. We decided to shut down the big group and open Boss Mom Plus, which is a dedicated app, right? Which means we thought about what are the big problems, and for our moms, they're distractions. Like everybody listening right now, imagine you get on because you're going to go look at a piece of content. You're going to go read something about Mark. You're going to hop into, the Boss Mom community, right? And then 30 minutes later, you realize you've watched a cheerleading competition and synchronized swimming for an hour, and you don't know how and you don't know
mm,
why, but you
mm.
you just got sucked in. It's like, how could we create a space where you don't get sucked in? Like, how could we create focus for you? How could we create it? And that's why we built Boss Mom
Wow.
Plus. And then we said we
Yeah.
were going to do it for free and then have paying levels. And I said, okay, if one of our biggest challenges that our women feel is this feeling of safety. How could we create safety? Okay, what if there was a price for it, right? And you bought in. What would that look like? And we went through all of those models and thought through it. This is the one thing I tell people: the difference between just a regular business and $1 million business is that $1 million business has a project to decide if they want to do that project, right? To whereas the non-$1 million business goes, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to jump into it. And then 5 years later, they're like, well, I started it, so now I have to keep doing it. Like bigger companies look at a project and go, is this viable? What are all my options? Let's brainstorm all the things. And then when I make a decision, I spend 90 days looking at it and assessing all of the possible angles. Is it working? And we kill things that don't work, right? And so we spent this time going through all the different options, all the different scenarios, and this we believe is the best one, is a low cost option to come in for the community has facilitated live networking events which have been wildly successful, like people are loving them. We have we're just about to launch the media engine for the new Boss Mom site where people can contribute. We're going to, like we have a whole different format of the way we're doing the podcast. And then the two other components to that is that in the future, say 2 years from now, we are going to, as we see somebody who is up and coming, we are going to fund them. We are going to fund their
Oh
show.
my
We're going to fund
gosh.
their thing so that we launch them. And then when they are have all of their stability, we are going to put them out into the world so that we can actually be the launch pad for moms. And then the other side of that is we're working on starting a nonprofit that we're toying with Boss Mom United, something we're not quite positive what the word after Boss Mom will be, but it'll be a 501(c)(3) where we will have scholarships for single moms, moms in abusive relationships, moms in military, other moms that maybe just need it, where we give you the money you need for the marketing tools. We have a business coach and a life coach for a particular period of time, and we pay for daycare, right? So that moms can start businesses in ways so that we can help. I mean, there was someone on my team, because she came into my team and started VA work, was able to leave her husband, right, who was in a it was a very bad toxic relationship, but it gave her the funds to be able to become independent, and it has
Wow.
changed her life. Like we want to be
Wow.
able to do that. So it's going big. It was, hey, we were this boss mom community and we're helping people, and now it's like we are going to literally be a force to reckon with, where we are truly going to change how people see moms in business. They truly understand. We're going to have surveys and things that come out that really show the landscape for moms and what they're dealing with, and really understand why businesses for moms are so important to us, to our identity, and to our children, like all of those things. So yeah, the big thing is like we had to shut it down because there was no way to level up in the way I wanted to, where it was on Facebook. It just had to change, and then we
Wow.
reinvented it.
Well, I've got a concluding comment and question, but first I want to remind everybody that our show is brought to you by Brevo. Brevo has been an amazing sponsor for a long time. There are like a 500,000 businesses that use Brevo for their CRM and automated marketing. It's really risk-free to try. Go to www.brevo.com/marketing companion. You can try it for free. And if you decide to stand up. If you decide to sign up, again, the drugs are playing with my brain. Use companion, the word companion, as a promo code to get 50% off your first 3 months. Well, Dana, I mean, what an inspiring story. And again, you're reinforcing the message that and the lessons that you taught me, years ago now, when I was interviewing you in that hotel room. Just that really, it's all about your vision. It's the vision and it's the mission, and the money will come, if later if you focus on the mission. And I so admire your courage. I mean, uh, just the amazing thing that you've done to like walk away from this 80,000 person community and, like you said, burn it to the ground because you need to take your vision to the next level. You need to recreate something and really, I mean, serve the world in a new way. And I just couldn't admire you more. And I wonder, um, have you thought about or are you actively doing any sort of coaching or counseling to other people who want to start communities? I mean, I wrote in the book that the subtitle of the book was "Community is the last great marketing idea." It's the next big thing in marketing. I think that is true. I mean, I see it everywhere. The conversations are everywhere. The interest is everywhere. And a lot of people are struggling. So are you offering any sort of personal coaching or counseling to people who are struggling with these ideas?
Yeah, so there's two things. One is when you level up the business, you have to level up you, right? So we don't do any more. We shut down all our group coaching, we shut down all of those things. But we opened a certification. So our nurture to convert certification, we have our round of women that are just coming out. We'll do it once a year. Have learned all the methodology of how we build things, how, from marketing and all of that stuff,
Mm,
so that our regular boss moms can get support in that way. Because I am more at a, like, I'm a fractional CMO for a couple businesses. I do like the VIP intensives where we'll go in for a day and map out what your culture looks like, what you're
mm,
trying to build, make recommendations on what that looks like. So I'm at this bigger level. And it's funny because my audience, the girls in the certification, they were like, Dana, is there anything that we would do that would step on your toes? And I just said, we're not playing at the same level. Like, we're
mm.
not playing at the same level. And I want to bring you up to my level so that in a couple years, like, you're up where I am. That's my
Right.
fondest goal, is that y'all surpass me.
Yeah, I'm the
Right.
same way.
Uh,
Yeah.
but we're not playing at the same level. So you can do, and like, there's a parameters of the certification. I'm like, but you could do anything. Like, tell me what you need and I will help you get it, because your success is my success. And really recognizing, like, I have kids who constantly are barraged with this idea that if you care about people and you make money at it, then you're bad, right? Like, that those two things can't happen. And I'd really love to live in a world where people recognize caring about people, that creates the loyalty, that creates the integrity. There's, of course, people want to give you money, because they want to see your vision go forward and they want to learn from you. Like, of course people want to be a mentor. Like, it's okay to level up. You don't have to be at the same level as everybody else. They want to be inspired by somebody, and they want to be inspired by somebody who they feel like is like them, gets them, and won't let them down, is who they say they will be. Like, we are moving into an era of authenticity, of, you call it the messy marketing and all of those things, and that's because people want something real, and they want to follow something, and they're willing to pay for those things. And we can live in a world where there's some really amazing people that also make a lot of money, and we all need to live in a world where our kids recognize that is mutually inclusive. Right? There's a ton of crappy people in the world, and some of them don't have money, and some of them have money, some of them don't have power, and some of them have power. But they're just like, if we can raise it up to show you that all the really amazing people that actually care about making the world better can also have money, and that can be you. Like, man, if I left the world and that's the one
Mm,
thing our kids recognized, and that
mm,
building things and being resilient, like, I'm telling my kids right now, I've cried, like intense crying, like, and then I'll be happy an hour later. I'm like so inspired and so passionate, and then deeply depressed for the day. And I tell the kids, like, when you do something big and you do something risky and you do something brave, and it's scary, or you end a relationship that was good but not great, right? Like Boss Mom, the way it was. And you do those things. This is what comes with it. And I'm like, but I want you to see it, because this isn't bad. Crying, mom,
mm,
is
mm.
is crying because I'm grieving, and grieving is a real process. And you know what comes out of the grief? Inspiration and confidence and excitement. And I'm like, I want you to recognize that we don't shy away from emotions. We allow our emotions to happen, because become a bigger, better version of ourselves. And I want every mom and every child to see that, because if we just raised a bunch of resilient kids who tried new things and failed all the time, oh my gosh, the world would be an insanely exciting place. And I want to be a part of building that. And there's a ton of money to be made where people are really excited about contributing to that, versus feeling the buyer's remorse of being duped into into buying something. We want to live in a world where everybody recognizes they've spent their money in good places and made good decisions, so it can build their confidence. And I think that we can spread the word that that's the way to make money these days.
Well, I want you to imagine something for a minute. I want you to imagine I think the people listening to this podcast, last saw was like 125 different countries. I want you to imagine thousands of people all around the world in 125 different countries saying to you, hallelujah. Because that's how I feel right now. Thanks for your message, Dan. I mean, we need more of you. and I am your biggest fan. And whatever I can do to ever help you and your vision and your message, I am certainly always in your camp. So thanks so much. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on the Marketing Companion.